years, I bet. This one was really interesting. It was super easy to find stuff about. We got a little bit of like theory, a little bit of rap, jazz. We went through it all. So get comfy, sit back, and relax. We're gonna jump in 1 second. We just have a few announcements. Obviously, sources will be linked down below. I only used two websites because the facts were endless. So yeah, the sources will be down below, and if you have any suggestions for what topic to do next, make sure to comment that down below because I will very likely do it. And if I haven't gotten to yours yet, and you really want to see it, comment down below again, like repeat it, and I will get to it. I've likely just forgot and write it down, something along those lines. So if you have suggestions, or you've previously made a suggestion, let me know what those are. Okay. So we're just now gonna get into it. I've got my laptop over here, so I'll be reading off of that. And yeah, let's do it. Fact number one. Eminem's Rap God has the most words in a song at a whopping 1,560. Fact number two. I cannot pronounce this, but it's the Siciolis epitaph is the oldest musical composition in the world, dating back to the 1st century AD. It was on a column marking a grave in Turkey. The epitaph includes both a musical score and a short set of lyrics. The lyrics read, "While you live, shine, have no grief at all. Life exists for a short while, and time demands his due." That's really beautiful, actually. Depression. Okay, number three. Fact number three. There are 5 kinds of musical instruments. How to play these 5 types of musical instruments. Percussion instruments are struck. String instruments have their strings strung. Both woodwind and brass instruments get blown, and keyboard instruments have their keys pressed. Fact number 4. Research has consistently shown that the synchronization of music with repetitive exercise provides enhanced physical performance, helping people both work out for longer and train more efficiently. Fact number 5. An earworm, also sometimes called a brainworm, sticky music, or stuck song syndrome, refers to catchy music that continually repeats through a person's mind even after it's no longer playing. I hate earworms. My mom gets them all the time, and she recently had watermelon sugar, a hairstyle stuck in her head, and she doesn't know who Harry Styles is, but she's just like, "Have you even heard that song, like that watermelon song?" And I was like, "Yes, Mom, Harry Styles, the one and only." Anyways, yeah. Fact number 6. The world's largest performing rock band included 953 musicians. The Beijing Contemporary Music Academy achieved this record on June 16th, 2016. They performed in the city of Taizhen, China. The band included 349 singers, 154 guitarists, 151 drummers, 100 bassists. Bassists also took part in the performance, along with 100 keyboard players and 98 players of wind instruments. Number 7. Gioacchino Rossini is one of the most famous opera writers in history. One of the songs in his opera Tancredi is also known as Dai Tanti Palpiti. It is also called the Rice Aria, and by Rossini himself. This is because he composed the whole song while waiting for a dish of rice to finish cooking. Number 8. Led Zeppelin was recording a new single when a black dog walked into their studio. That song was later released with the name Black Dog. Number 9. Japan's Folk Music and Dance Association assembled the world's largest shamisen ensemble. The ensemble is a traditional Japanese musical. Oh no, sorry. The shamisen is a traditional Japanese musical instrument that looks like a violin. The 1,911 participants all used the Tsugaro shamisen in their performance. It took place in Tokyo, Japan on October 23rd, 2016 and lasted 6 minutes and 5 seconds. Number 10. Simon Desjour. I have no idea. Simon D. assembled the most number of chimes as a single musical instrument, also known as tubular bells. This instrument included 120 aluminum tubes. The tubes have various lengths tuned to musical scales. The longest tube measures 4,877 millimeters long, while the shortest is 473 milliliters long. Number 11. The world's longest concert by multiple artists took place from March 17th to April 5th in 2017. The concert was part of Canada's celebration of their country's 105th anniversary. The participants included the Epidemic Music Group, and the concert lasted 453 hours, 54 minutes, and 40 seconds. Number 12. Fact number 12. The number of performers in an orchestra depends on the kind of orchestra it is. Chamber orchestras usually include only 50 performers at most. Symphonies and philharmonic orchestras usually have more than 80 performers. It is not unknown for them to exceed 100 performers, depending on the program. Number 13. Hong Kong hosted the largest harmonica ensemble on November 13th, 2009. Number 14. The most number of people to play a single piano at the same time is 23. Number 15. Thomas Silkman has changed the most number of guitar strings in a single hour. Changing guitar strings can be quite a hassle. It takes lots of time, patience, and effort to do so. But on April 20th, 2018, Silkman showed it doesn't have to be as long as you believe in yourself. An instrument technician and music store owner, he changed 226 strings in an hour. He did so as part of his dream to set a world record. Number 16. A piano's frame is made of iron. You might think that a piano is almost entirely made of wood, but if it were, it might rip itself apart. This is because the strings inside a piano are tightly pulled. They have to be to make their sound right, but they're pulled so tight that the tension is equivalent to 20 tons of force put on the frame. That is why a piano's frame is made of iron. It has to be able to hold up all that force. I don't know if any of you guys have ever tried to move a piano. You need multiple people. It is literally insane. I've had to do it a few times because luck have it, but I don't recommend. So that's all I'm saying. Number 17. Daddy Yankee is the first Latin artist to become number 1 on Spotify. You know Daddy Yankee from his performance in the hit song Despacito. On July 9th, 2017, Daddy Yankee became the first Latin artist to reach number 1 on Spotify because of Despacito and Justin Bieber, and because it was incredibly catchy. Number 18. With over 1 billion sales worldwide, Elvis Presley is still the best-selling solo artist in the world. Number 19. The popular song Irreplaceable has a story behind it that involves multiple famous artists. For starters, it was written by Neo, who wrote it as a country song with Faith Hill or Shania Twain in mind to record it. But Beyonce heard it, loved it, and made it her own. The catchy song went on to grab the number 1 spot on 4 different Billboard charts the year it was released in 2006. To the left, everything you own in a box to the left. In the closet, that's my stuff, yeah. If I bought it, please don't touch. We walk and talk at the same time, yeah. Number 20. Fact number 20. Music in the Middle Ages the rise of humanism. Under its influence, musicians experimented with new instruments and styles. Musical pieces moved away from religious themes to secular ones. The most important of those was opera, born as a Renaissance revival of ancient Greek theater. Number 21. AKB48 is the world's largest pop group. When they started out in 2010, the Japanese pop group only had about 48 members. That's reflected in their name and is in fact why they called themselves that. To date though, AKB has 130 members, and that doesn't include former members who've left the group for one reason or another. Number 22. Fact number 22. Non-verbal signals are common in jazz performances. These signals take many forms, from nods of the head to subtle pointing of an instrument. They are usually used to signal the beginning and end of performances. They are also used to signal the start of another part of a musical program. There could be other meanings as well, but they are always about a program's performance. Number 28. There are 8 notes in music. You could call notes the alphabet of music. They are used to write notations which tell musicians how to perform a piece. There are 8 notes, though there are 2 ways to read the first 7. In most countries, they're read as do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. In Britain and Holland, they are instead substituted with the first 7 letters of the alphabet. The 8th note is always called the octave. Yeah, I read music with A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Or you got face, F, A, C, E. All cows eat grass, and so on and so forth. Number 24. Usually an orchestra will have players for all 5 kinds of musical instruments, but this isn't always the case. Conductors have a free hand to select which instruments to include in an orchestra. This allows them to organize an orchestra to match their musical program, nor are they limited to traditional musical instruments. Starting in the 20th century, modern instruments can get included in orchestras. Examples include the electric guitar, synthesizers, and other electronic instruments. 25. Joseph Haydn was an 18th century Austrian composer. He contributed to the development of the modern orchestra, so much so that he's called the father of the symphony. One particularly morbid example of music's facts is that he has 2 skulls in his tomb. This is because someone stole his skull shortly after his death. His family put a placeholder skull in his tomb as a result. His original skull was later recovered and replaced in his tomb in 1954. Despite that, the placeholder skull remained in his tomb, hence the 2 skulls. Number 26. 70 different pieces of wood make a violin. Number 27. The London Symphonic Orchestra was going to travel to the USA on the Titanic, but the Titanic's launch got delayed following an accident involving a sister ship. To stay on schedule, the orchestra had to use another ship to get to the USA. It was there that they later learned about the disaster of the Titanic sinking. Number 28. Multiple studies have been conducted that prove singing as a part of a group provides numerous physical and emotional benefits. Researchers have discovered that singing is soothing and does indeed raise one's spirits and mood. When you sing with others, the body releases feel-good hormones like oxytocin, and reduces stress-causing ones like cortisol. A fun fact about me is that I do really be walking around every day singing to myself. I used to work with this girl, and I loved her to bits, but she used to walk around just literally belting out songs. And it was, she was like a fine singer, but she wasn't no Beyonce. But I was always just so amazed that she was literally just singing away. Like, I'll sing around the house and I'll sing to myself in public, but she was like belting it out, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. It was so adorable. Anyway, back to number 29. Orlando de Lassus is one of the greatest musicians and composers of the Renaissance. He was also a talented singer, so much so that he got kidnapped 3 times as a boy for his beautiful voice. Number 30. Aldinia was an opera singer from the late 19th century during a performance at London's Covent Garden in 1895. She wore a costume worth €15 million. It was and remains to be the most expensive opera costume of all time. That's ridiculous. €15 million for one costume. Anyway, fact number 31. Karaoke means empty orchestra. The Japanese word karaoke comes from two other words, karapo, which means empty in Japanese, and orchestra, the Japanized form of orchestra. Number 32. Musicians have shorter lifespans than the general population, according to a study conducted by the University of Sydney. Number 33. Fans trying to get a piece of their idols isn't a recent thing. In fact, it goes back as far as the 19th century. One notable example involved composer Franz Liszt. Fans went to great lengths to get souvenirs of the composer. These included not only his portraits, but even his gloves and handkerchiefs. They even fought over his garbage like broken strings of a spent cigar. I don't know what that means. Or a spent cigar. I understand. I'm so sorry, I'm silly. Anyway, women were also known to pinch at him to get this hair. It got so bad that Franz finally bought a dog, not to keep his fans out of fear of the dog, but so he could get its fur. The composer would snip out the dog's fur, which then he handed to his fans as his hair. Number 34. Mozart has a chocolate brand named after him called Mozart Google or Mozart Ball. They were first sold by Paul Furtz in 1890. They were handmade and have Mozart's image shown on the wrapper. They remain in the market today and are apparently very popular in Austria. Number 35. Havergal Brian's Gothic Symphony requires 8,000 performers. Brian wasn't trying to look cool, nor is he messing around. His Gothic Symphony needs that many performers to play. Out of 1,800 are singers, and the remaining 200 make up the orchestra. Number 36. Country music was another form of folk music. All that changed when the Cold War began. Many folk singers had left-wing sympathies. Others rebranded their music as country music to avoid getting called communists. It's kind of funny to me. Anyway, number 37. In 2016, Mozart sold more CDs than Beyonce. In fact, Mozart sold the most CDs in 2016, beating out Adele, Drake, and Beyonce, even though all those artists had Grammy-winning hits that year. So in October of 2016, the Universal Music Group released a box set commemorating the 225th anniversary of Mozart's death. Each disc included in the box set counted as one CD sold, and each set contained 200 discs. Throw in the proliferation of streaming, which has significantly dampened CD sales, and Mozart is a winner, baby. Number 38. Some people feel nothing towards music. Per the result of one study conducted at the University of Barcelona, 5% of participants did not feel any emotion whatsoever, didn't feel any chills, or want to tap their foot when listening to music. They received pleasure from other things though, like food and sex, and had no other evident psychological issues. These were happy, healthy college students who just naturally did not care for any kind of music. Number 39. According to Guinness World Records, Rod Stewart's 1993 New Year's Eve concert on Copacabana Beach in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, remains the most attended free concert that ever took place. An estimated 4.2 million people were in attendance at this performance. The second most attended free concert was Jean-Michel Jarre's September 6, 1997 performance at the University of Moscow, which reportedly had an estimated which was way below the 5-second average of identifying other popular songs. Number 42. Finland has the most metal bands per capita. Number 43. In 2015, a Canadian astronaut named Chris Hadfield released his first album, which was entirely recorded while he was in orbit. Not only was he the first Canadian to walk in space, he's also a talented musician who went viral with a cover of David Bowie's Space Oddity. Hadfield spent 144 days at the International Space Station recording his 11 original songs for his appropriately titled album, Space Sessions Songs for a Tin Can. Number 44. According to reports, British naval officers play Britney Spears' song to scare away Somali pirates off of Africa's eastern coast. Her songs Oops, I Did It Again and Baby One More Time are the songs which are used. The rationale of playing these songs is because supposedly Somali pirates have a strong dislike for Western culture and music, which make Britney Spears' songs a perfect fit to make the bandits move on as quickly as possible. It's aggressive. Number 45. I've spoken about this before, but if you're new to my fact videos, this is new to you. So 45. Jingle Bells is a Christmas classic, but it didn't originate that way. Written by James Lord Pierpont and published in 1857, it was meant to be sung during Thanksgiving. Number 46. Music helps plants grow faster. Scientific fact. Number 47. There had been some speculation for decades, but Paul McCartney finally admitted during a 2018 60 Minutes interview that neither he nor any of his Beatles bandmates were able to read or write music, and they never understood music theory. McCartney said that the music just came to him and his bandmates, John Lennon, Ringo Starr, and George Harrison, and it was never written down. Number 48. The most expensive musical instrument sold for $15.9 million. Number 49. In 2013, rock band Metallica achieved a new Guinness World Records title after becoming the first musical act to play a concert on all 7 continents. They set this record after performing for 120 scientists and competition winners in a transparent dome at Carlini Station in Antarctica. The band actually held concerts on all 7 continents within one calendar year, following tour dates in North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australia. Fact number 50. In 1893, the Hill Sisters needed a song for their kindergarten class to sing on birthdays. Today, Happy Birthday is the most profitable song of all time. The song's ownership had changed hands a few times over the past 100 years, but music holding company Warner Chappell bought the rights for $15 million in 1990 and have held them since. Today, the song brings in $2 million a year in royalties, which comes to $5,000 per day. Another fun fact, the song costs $25,000 to use it in a movie or TV show. Number 51. Students who have experience with music performance or taking music appreciation courses score higher on the SAT. 52. Listening to music utilizes the entire brain. Number 53. Michael Jackson so badly wanted to play Spider-Man in a movie that he attempted to buy Marvel Comics, the company that created the character and owns the rights to Spider-Man, so he could make it happen. But Stan Lee said, nuh-uh, Spider-Man's mine. Until he inevitably sold it to Disney. Anyway, number 54. A study conducted at the University of Pavia in Italy showed that music promotes a healthy cardiovascular system by triggering physiological changes that moderate was created by a New York City musician named Patrick Grant to encourage people to play and listen to new types of music they're not familiar with, or appreciate music you might otherwise consider to be strange or bizarre. The mantra is to listen without prejudice. To celebrate this particular day, there are concerts and movements to introduce new types of music to children in an effort to broaden their musical horizons. Number 56. After Zadar, Croatia suffered devastation in World War II. Reconstruction included transforming a part of the city's seacoast into an unbroken, monotonous concrete wall. Completed in 2005, the sea organ is an architectural sound object which plays music when hit by sea waves through tubes which are located under large marble steps. The steps, which offer both protection and allow tourists and locals a place to sit or stand while listening to the music caused by the wind and sea, were built later. 57. Fact number 57. Loud music causes you to drink more in less time. 58. Fact number 58. A 2001 study by two psychologists at the University of Leicester suggested that cows who listen to slow, soothing songs like Everybody Hurts by Rem and Simon and Garfunkel's Bridge Over Troubled Waters produce 3% more milk than a controlled group. Cows that listen to rap and techno music showed no increase in milk production. When a cow is stressed, it slows down the release of oxytocin, which is crucial for producing milk, so playing music that relaxes them helps them produce more milk. Number 59. The day the music died refers to two plane crashes that killed musicians aboard. The first day that music died was on February 3rd, 1959. A plane crash in Ohio killed musicians Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper. The second was in 1963, involving a plane crash in Tennessee. Killed aboard were Patsy Cline, Hawkshaw Hawkins, and Cowboy Coppers. Number 60. Fact number 60. Jazz inspired the word hipster. The root of hipster is hep, 1930s slang for someone considered fashionable. Those included jazz players, and from there developed to hipster. Number 61. Jimmy Dean was a country singer who made stunning success with his 1963 single Big Bad John. He used this success to start a television program. For this success led him to found the Jimmy Dean Sausage Company. Talk about the American dream. Number 62. Fact number 62. Dolly Parton once said no to Elvis. Elvis Presley approached Dolly Parton in 1974 about her song I Will Always Love You. He wanted to record the song, but she refused after Elvis's manager asked her for half of all profits. This ensured Dolly Parton millions of dollars in the future from sales of this particular song. Number 63. Heavy metal and classical music fans have similar personality traits. Both groups tend to be creative, at ease with themselves, and introverted. Number 64. While Guns N' Roses were struggling to make an impact on the Hollywood music scene in the mid-1980s, Axl Rose held down some interesting jobs, including the position of night manager at the Tower Records location on Sunset Boulevard. He and his bandmate Izzy Stradlin also participated in a scientific study at UCLA, where they smoked cigarettes for reported wages of $8 per hour. Number 65. The Offspring's first drummer left the band to become a gynecologist. Number 66. Music helps people with brain injuries recall personal memories. Number 67. Monaco's army has just 82 soldiers. Its military orchestra has 85 musicians. This makes Monaco the only country whose army is smaller than its military orchestra. Number 68. Prince's debut album, For You, was released when he was just 20 years old, and he played 27 musical instruments on it. Included in the album's notes, he's listed as the musician behind all vocals, as well as electric guitar, acoustic guitar, bass synth, singing bass, buzz bass, electric piano, acoustic piano, mini moog, polymog, arp string ensemble, art pro soloist, Abraham 4-voice, clavinet drums, syndromes, water drums, slapsticks, bongos, congas, finger cymbals, wind chimes, orchestra bells, wood blocks, brush trap, tree bell, hand claps, and finger snaps. Number 69. The Spice Girls are commonly known individually by their nicknames Posh, Baby, Scary, Sporty, and Ginger. However, they didn't come up with those names on their own. In fact, the editor of Teeny Bopper magazine, Top of the Pops, named the girls after interviewing them. Even though they were already established as the Spice Girls, their individual nicknames stuck and were accepted by the band, who thought the names were funny. A little fun fact about me, when I was like 5 or 6, I watched the Spice World movie several times a day for a few weeks, and I don't really know why, but it was comforting to me for some reason, and I watched it all the time, like several times a day for weeks on end, and then I just stopped. Like, don't ask me more than that. That's all I know. Okay, number 70. Fact number 70. Before The Sound of Music showed in cinemas, 20th Century Fox was on the brink of bankruptcy. This was because of the box office failure of the movie Cleopatra in 1963. The Sound of Music's debut in 1965 saved the studio. Number 71. The origins of the word jazz are not known. One theory is it's taken from a baseball term meaning fighting spirit. Another theory is that it was slang for the 1910s jism or gism. Both words had sexual connotations. I wonder what that could have been. Anyway, number 72. There are two kinds of music therapy, active and receptive. Music therapy is a scientifically backed form of medicine used to improve quality of life. Its two forms are active and receptive. In active music therapy, patients perform music. This is helpful for people with weak lungs or reduced physical ability. In receptive music therapy, patients listen to music provided for them. This is helpful for people with mood and anxiety problems. Number 73. You've heard of Maroon 5 and that they started in 2001, but in fact they started long before that. The group first formed in 1994 as Kara's Flowers. They achieved modest success, but only made it big as Maroon 5. This love has taken its toll on me. You said goodbye too many times before. Number 74. Madonna became famous as the Queen of Pop and an inspiration to a generation of youth. But what you might not know was that she wasn't always a singer. In the 1970s, she was a drummer for the band Breakfast Club. And last but not least, fact number 75. Fact number 75. Japanese comedian Piccolo Taro released Pen Pineapple Apple Pen in 2016. It gained 1 million hits on the internet and a place in USA's Billboard Hot 100 charts. At 45 seconds long, it broke the record for the shortest song on the chart. Guinness Book of World Records recognized this and included this feat in the records that year.